XRP is basically the Federal Reserve in disguise. Your bank account can be taken from you. The government just makes a phone call and says, we'll just freeze everything. Freeze everything.
What is the biggest myth that people have about cryptocurrency? Can you spend Bitcoin to buy things?
People were always asking me for the next biggest crypto, and I say it's Bitcoin.
Hello and welcome back to the Dream with Dr. Sheen podcast, the show where the science of success meets lived experience. I am Sheen, your host, and today's episode is brought to you by Pepperstone. Our guest today is Davinci Jeremie. Davinci is a Canadian software engineer turned Bitcoin pioneer, best known for his 2013 video urging the world to just buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. Rooted in a background of financial systems development and macroeconomics, he developed an early conviction that scarce assets hold the key to lasting wealth. After discovering Bitcoin in 2011 and studying its white paper, he became one of its earliest and most vocal advocates. Now based here in Dubai, Davinci remains active in the crypto space as a long-term believer whose philosophy is very simple. Buy, hold, and be patient. By the end of this episode, you will know how to get started with Bitcoin, how to approach crypto investing the right way, and how everyday people can begin building real wealth through crypto assets and ETFs. I walked away from this conversation seeing things differently, and I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. Hello, Davinci.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Welcome on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Listen, we are very excited to have you today because we don't know anything about crypto or anything about Bitcoin.
Okay.
And I hear you are a wizard on that front.
Yes, I'm good at explaining this, and I remember explaining this to so many people, and watching my favorite thing is watching their face when they realize, oh, I should get that.
When they think, oh, it's that simple.
Yes.
But tell me, what, in your experience, given that you've done this many times, what is the biggest myth that people have about cryptocurrency?
Obviously, it's a scam because they don't know what it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's something that's supposed to be money, and that's all they know.
Yeah. That's all they know.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's start with that then. If we talk about investing, if you were to break down what is, for any average viewer, what is the difference between an ETF and crypto, for example, like Bitcoin, and what should an investor look out for when deciding which one they should invest in?
Well, I think we should answer the question, what is Bitcoin first,
Please.
Right?
Please. See, I've already missed a step. Okay.
That's where, because you're jumping to like how to invest in it and stuff like that. But I'm sure the audience wants to know, what is it basically?
Yeah.
Well, Bitcoin was invented to replace our current financial system because all the banks spent all their money, well, actually your money.
Yeah.
They ran out of it.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, darn, we're going to have to go under and we don't have your money anymore. And so obviously that couldn't happen. So what did they do? They printed a bunch of money and gave it to them. Don't do that again.
Oh, of course. Pinky promise. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And you know how that's going to work out because it creates a moral hazard. If we run out of money again, you just
print it again. Yeah.
You see the problem there, right? And so this is why Satoshi decided, okay, well, no, you can't just get free money. Right? Because what happens is, although you might think that was a good idea to bail out the banks so that you wouldn't go broke, what's happened is your money has dropped in value. Because once they print a bunch of money, all the money that's newly added money now reduces the value of what's in your account. So now they've stolen your money without you realizing it. They don't. You don't realize that you've just taken basically a haircut. So let's just say if the bank would to truly go under, not everybody would get paid the exact dollar amount that they would have in the bank account. You'd have to take a loss. Well, instead of doing that, all they did was you took the loss another way.
Yeah. They absorb it other places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because basically through inflation, right? Prices
You pay
everything.
more for the same things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so Bitcoin came along to create a new monetary system to prevent that from happening. Now, of course, as a monetary system, it was a bottoms-up kind of system. The reason why Satoshi made it a bottom-up system, not something that, okay, well, I'll go to the government and say, hey, let's do this. Well, the government's going to be like, how about no? Because that means if I want to print some more money, I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously, and so they're not going to like that idea. And so Satoshi created it for the public to use, see if they were interested. We didn't know if it was going to work or not. But it turns out it did work. I obviously saw it because I was early, of course.
Yeah.
I bought it when it was only $1.
Wow.
And I saw the potential because we have a system of fraud and now a system of honesty, which do you think is eventually going to win?
Right. Hopefully, honesty.
Eventually, one day, because obviously everybody's going to realize, wait a second, we can't continue down this fraudulent path. We need something that's fair and honest as our base money. And since gold was the money that we used before, and the reason why gold failed, it was not because gold is a bad idea for money, is that we advanced so much that we needed a fast settlement of our money. So we couldn't transfer gold fast enough in order to pay for something. So we'd have to ship it. It could get lost. It could be dropped and somebody else could steal it along the way. There's so many problems with that. So we created check money, right? Which is the paper instead, right? So that can be transferred faster. And then we went on to digital. And of course, that digital separated from the gold backing. Now we don't back our dollars with gold. Or any money with gold, right? And so that broke because that's a promise that somebody else has to keep. Bitcoin is not a promise. It is the final settlement, and it provides the same features of your current digital money, but the money is the Bitcoin, and you cannot get the value stolen from it because there's a fixed supply. And the fixed supply is the key one of the key features, because there's many key features. One of many key features Bitcoin has that allows you to ensure that no one can steal your wealth, and through inflation is one way. And then on top of that, no one can confiscate today. Your bank account can be taken from you. The government just makes a phone call and says, I'm going to freeze everything. Freeze everything. For example, my wife, her WhatsApp, she woke up one day, her WhatsApp was blocked. All her accounts, like she couldn't download anything, any chats, nothing. They said that she had violated some sort of guidelines, but she's just a regular user, just chats with her family. Right? What possible
what
guidelines?
are they talking about?
She violated. But the point is, right, this is the kind of control they have over your bank account, of all your money, of your stocks. Oh, it gets even worse, which I don't even want to get into that. But it gets way worse than that. But this is what you get with Bitcoin, is the freedom and control over your wealth directly. But with freedom, there's a cost to it.
Of course. Always.
You have to be responsible. Just like if you're responsible for your cash or your gold or your jewelry and your house, you have to be responsible for your Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is basically a new type of money that nobody's thought actually all scientists, all computer scientists, engineers thought was impossible. So this is why when I saw it, I realized, oh my God, this is going to revolutionize the world. We have the money that was thought to be impossible, and now it is possible, and people could use it and transfer instantly and actually know that it will never be stolen from them. In fact, you could walk anywhere in the world and no one knows you have it. You could cross borders with millions, billions of dollars, and nobody knows how much you've got. That's the beauty of it.
But the value of Bitcoin also changes, right?
Yes,
over
it
time?
does.
Yeah.
Yes, the reason why is because it's a new asset and it's difficult to price. People see it at different times. They understand what it is at a different price, at a different time. They can't know it at the very beginning because they're busy with their life. They have things to do, people to see and work to get done. And so taking the time to understand what Bitcoin is probably last on their list. It's only when it comes in front of them or when they realize they need it is when they decide to look into it. One of the most famous persons who decided to look into it because he needed it was Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is now the biggest advocate of Bitcoin, but he never was at the beginning. He thought it was nonsense. He thought it was garbage. And he's a computer scientist.
Wow.
The reason why he thought it was garbage at first is because it was not needed for him. He didn't see any use case. So he didn't bother to really look into it. It was only when people started shorting his stock and his company was getting crushed that he thought, okay, well, why are you shorting my stock? It was because your cash is worthless and it doesn't matter. You're making lots of money. That money is going to be printed away.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? So he decided to go, okay, I need to find a solution to this. And he found Bitcoin.
Okay. And can you spend Bitcoin to buy things if we're talking about it replacing money?
Not at this current time. There are places where do accept Bitcoin, but it's not an efficient system right now for that.
But it's coming?
But it is coming. That is because it's still early, to be money. In order to be effective money, it'd have to have a valuation around $100 trillion.
Oof.
So we're at 2 trillion. So you've got almost a 50x move.
Yes. It's a bit of a move.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're just gambling on Bitcoin only, you could gamble just on the fact that, hey, I was trying to make money. Let me just put a little bit of money on that, like 1% of my portfolio, because that's a 50x move if it does happen, right?
Yeah.
Worthwhile as a gamble. But if you take the time and understand what Bitcoin is, I think you probably go all in, just like Michael Saylor.
And now how does that compare to an ETF?
Yes, if you're investing for, hey, you know what, I think this thing might do something, and you could throw it into the ETF. You just want to get the dollar's worth, right? Because that's what an ETF is just a bet on whether or not Bitcoin is going to work out. It is not bet in dollars, too.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you're betting that Bitcoin's going to work out, but how well that will work out for the dollar? Not very well.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That is ironic. Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. So whilst you're betting on Bitcoin doing well, it may not be the best tool for the long term. For the short term, the ETF is great.
Yeah.
You can jump in and out of Bitcoin anytime you want. But for the long-term bet, it's not the best way to bet on that long-term outcome because, well, you'll be getting dollars and you might not be able to buy Bitcoin with it because the dollars might be absolutely worthless.
Yeah. And when you say long-term, what kind of years are we looking at here? Are we talking 20 years, 50 years?
I can only estimate and be wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
It all depends on how long it takes for people to start realizing what it is. And that takes time. And then as that roll, then of course there is new software, new applications in order to actually allow people to use it in the stores and so forth for fast POS systems, so point of sale systems for those who don't know.
Yeah.
Allowing people to quickly just go tap and buy, those systems takes time to also develop. And of course, it has to be a lot higher valuation for it to be used in that particular environment.
Yeah.
And so we're a little bit ways off. So you did ask me for a guess, and that's what I'm going to give you.
Yeah.
I would say anywhere from 10 to 20 years.
Okay. 10 to 20 years. That's not too long, to be honest. But now, going back to you, I know that you gained legendary status in the crypto community in 2013 for your YouTube video, where you urged people to just buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. But what did you see back then that made you believe that Bitcoin was the future?
Well, because I'm a software developer, and I've been a software developer since I was a child, as I told you before. And I worked at the company for 17 years, and then I learned about how our financial system was this fraud around 2007 into 2008. Is when I finally learned that truth. Here's the thing. I'm such a developer that I would work, my day job was programming, and my hobby was programming.
Of course.
And I stopped my hobby to learn about our financial system once I realized what it really was. And once I realized what it was, I had to change everything about my life. Everything.
Wow.
I stopped going into debt. I canceled all my stocks, sold all my bonds, everything went straight into gold and silver, physical gold and silver. And then I started looking for solutions to support a fair and honest monetary system. And there wasn't one. Every single monetary system that we'd come up with will result in a collapse where the government steals the wealth. It is what it is. It's too much value for them to not steal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It just is, right?
Yeah.
So once I saw Bitcoin, I knew that this was a preventative measure so that no government can steal our wealth through printing or through, hey, you know what? I'm just going to call up and say, this guy didn't pay his taxes or didn't pay this. I'm just going to take his money or freeze his accounts without any kind of due process. And that's happened to Andrew Tate, of course.
Yeah.
Everything was frozen. Everything was gone like that. Even though he was innocent, completely innocent, didn't matter. Right? Somebody didn't like him. Period. Right? So, and I know it's a matter of opinion, but who cares? So it's just my opinion. Let's not get into that. But anyways, Bitcoin allows us to actually hold our wealth and prevent external forces from taking it from us. In fact, governments can take everything. It can even take your life, right? But with Bitcoin, they can't take that if you're willing to store it in your brain and never give it to them. It will always be permanently lost if you store it in your brain permanently. And you could say, well, what about quantum computers?
Yeah.
This is what some people would say, right? What they fail to tell you about this is that if you use Bitcoin the way it was designed, which is you never reuse the same address, once you have Bitcoin in an address that you've never used, it's quantum safe. No quantum computer can ever take those Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
And they don't tell you that. They only tell you the quantum computer is going to destroy Bitcoin so that you can get out of it. But that's not true. Right? So.
Wow. So when you say different address, what does that mean?
It just, the way Bitcoin works, yes, address. When I said address, it's basically an account. I'm glad you asked that question because I'm sure people don't understand what it means. an address is basically what you consider a bank account.
Okay.
And instead of just using the same bank account number, you do not use the same number over and over again in Bitcoin.
Okay.
For privacy reasons and also for quantum security.
And how easy is it to create different addresses?
It automatically does that by design.
Okay. So it's just so simple. It's just people don't know that they should be doing this.
Yeah, it does it by design.
Yeah.
It's just that you can use the same address if you want to, which some people do because they're so used to our current system where, I'll just give you my bank account.
Yeah.
Right? I'll give you my same number. And you could do that on Bitcoin, but it's not recommended.
Okay. And I also saw in your bio that it says that save in Bitcoin or TSAT if you want to escape the rat race. What does that practically look like for someone who's earning a salary from a 9-to-5 job?
Okay, before we go on to explain what that is, there's a lot of things there. You mentioned TSATs.
Yes.
Right? You mentioned saving in Bitcoin.
Yes.
So, well, first off, TSATs is a product that I developed. It basically allows people to buy Bitcoin on Solana, and I'm not the custodian of this.
Yeah.
These Bitcoins, right? It is a smart contract, and this is a little bit more complicated. Smart contracts are systems that run without any third party, basically.
Okay.
They execute, and that's it. So that means if I die, your Bitcoins are still there. The contract gets executed by the system, and that's it. There is no, hey, Davinci needs to do something in order for you to get a hold of your Bitcoins from your TSATs.
But what's the advantage for you to do this?
I did this because people were always asking me for the next biggest crypto, and I say, it's Bitcoin. It's too expensive. But Bitcoin's not too expensive. You just don't want to, and I understand this logic, you don't want to buy a fraction. When you go into a store to buy something, you don't want 1/100th of a millionth of an apple. You want the whole apple.
Right.
And although Bitcoin is divisible by 100 million units, you don't want, you see it as a fraction of, like, if you spend $1, you're seeing 0.00001. And it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So with TSATs, if you buy that, you buy $1 worth, you get 1,600 of them. And regardless of people saying, well, it's the same. Yes, I get it. I get it. But have you heard the joke? A woman walks to a pizza parlor and she orders a pizza. And the waiter says, well, how many slices do you want? Because we can cut it into 8 or 12 slices. And she says, I'm very hungry, so 12 slices, please. And you could laugh, right? But even economists get that wrong. People who should know better get that wrong because of unit bias. People want whole units. And that's why I created TSATs, because I wanted something so that I can give to people. Say, hey, listen, I don't want you to go and buy these crappy coins that you're going to lose all their money in. Right. I did talk about them for a while, and I realized this was a bad idea. And that's why I created TSATs, to give people something that they can buy with a small amount of money, and they can see it build up. And then if they want, they can just move it to Bitcoin once it gets to, I suggest, like 10 million TSATs. Because that gives you 0.1 Bitcoin. And that feels a whole lot better than...
Yes, than the many decimal places.
Exactly, than the many decimal places, yes. Yeah. And so that's why I created TSATs, a way for the average person to save in Bitcoin and feel like they're building up something because they see a larger number.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what it's all about.
Okay.
And then you could transfer it to Bitcoin at any time, even if I'm not around.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. And then the question was, right, should people save in Bitcoin, right?
Yes, correct.
I believe so. If you understand our current financial system, and if you understand that the people who already did save in Bitcoin and cashed out, one of the wealthy people, which I met a lot of wealthy people that bought Bitcoin early, cashed out, and created a business. And they were very happy to create this business. But the one thing they all regretted, right? Because Bitcoin actually increases in value faster than any business that they could possibly create. Why? Because more and more people are realizing faster and faster that this system is better than the one we use. In fact, it's gotten to a point where even Iran, if you want to get your oil, you just have to pay them in Bitcoin. Why? Because no government on the planet can stop them from earning those Bitcoins or bomb them and take their Bitcoin. If you tried, you just destroyed the keys and you gave...
And that is lost forever.
And that is lost forever.
So that's a very good way for people who are trying to start off for the first time. They have very minimal salary and they're trying to make the money work for them. Would you say that is the safest bet?
It is the safest bet long term, but not the safest bet if you just realize, if you're like, you're watching this show and you're going, oh my God, I got to go all in Bitcoin. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And here's why. This is a new system that you're not familiar with. You can lose all your money, not because of a fraud. Fraud's part of it because people are fraudulent in this in space. It just is, right? In every space where there's money, there's a lot of fraud. So be careful. But where you could lose, and most people do lose, is because they don't understand that they have to protect their 12 words. And you get 12 words when you open up an account with Bitcoin. And those 12 words is the money.
Okay.
Period. And that is the failure to understand that point that most people do. And so I recommend you start to very, very small. Small amount that you can just go, okay, well, if I lose that, I don't care. Right? And the reason why is so that if you could protect that small amount, then you can go to a larger amount. If you can't, stick with the ETF for now until you can. Right? Stick with somebody, a third party holding it for you, some company or exchange, something large entity for now, because Bitcoin requires you to hold. If you want to hold it yourself, it requires you to be responsible for it. There is no Bitcoin company you can call if you make a mistake.
Now, when we're talking about kind of like building a life of financial freedom, right? Which is what you're talking about, is there needs to be a level of appetite for risk, but you also need to be very diligent with how much risk you take, at what stage you are, how much information you have. But what do you think, in your experience, are the mindset shifts that people need to have in order to start their journey to financial freedom? We have a little true or false game. So again, it's just to educate people on Bitcoin. I'm sure you're familiar with red and green cards, right?
Okay.
So I will ask you a few questions. If it's true, you lift up the green one. If it's false, you lift up the red one.
Sure.
So number one is a Bitcoin ETF allows investors to gain exposure to Bitcoin without directly owning or storing the actual cryptocurrency.
Yes, that's true.
That's true. Bitcoin has a fixed maximum supply of 21 million coins, which makes it a deflationary asset by design.
That's true, yes, but we haven't got to the 21 million yet, but yes.
Yeah, we are getting there. Number three, unlike Bitcoin, most traditional ETFs directly hold and manage the underlying crypto assets for long-term storage.
No, because they do stocks and stuff like that and other things.
So it's not just crypto, right? The price of Bitcoin is primarily influenced by central banks setting interest rates and controlling its supply.
We already talked about that, of course.
Very loudly.
Yes.
Emotional decision making, such as panic selling during market drops, is one of the most common reasons investors lose money in crypto markets.
Yeah, and every market.
Every market. I agree. Well, you got everything right. So before we carry on with this conversation, let's have a quick word from today's sponsor. Pepperstone is a globally trusted online broker built for traders who take the markets seriously. With advanced technology, fast execution, and round-the-clock support, Pepperstone serves traders across the UAE and globally, giving everyone the tools and confidence to trade on their own terms. Whether you are just getting started or you're a seasoned pro, Pepperstone is built to support you every step of the way. Head over to pepperstone.com to learn more and get started today. Thank you, Pepperstone, for sponsoring today's episode. Now back to the conversation.
I think the main thing is savings, right? Most people around the world, and not just in the United States, have a problem with saving for the long term. And it's not just a mental issue, meaning a mentality issue, of where they are, but also how the system actually automatically gets you in that place of always consume now. It's not only the media, but also the monetary system itself. Because as you save, and you're trying to save for something like a house or a car, and you realize things are always getting more expensive, your instinct is to just, well, screw it. I'll just buy for now because it's just going to be expensive and my money's worthless. And that internally, whether you know it consciously or not, is happening to you. And that's why it's difficult for people to save in our current environment. They see no point in it. With Bitcoin, there is a point because you see it always growing. Yes, Bitcoin fluctuates a lot. I get it. Priced into the currency that you're in. But over the long term, if you hold it for 5 years or more, you will always see it higher than if you started with any other bet. Whether it's a company, right? Unless you get lucky, right? There are certain things you can get lucky on.
Yeah.
I'll admit that. Yes, you can get lucky. But long term, this has an asymmetrical upside compared to anything else. What does that mean? It just means that the probability that this will do well is far greater than anything else that you can put your money into. That's all. And the downside, the worst case scenario, is the probability is so small for the worst case scenario, it's not worth betting on. Like, for example, there is a probability that an Earth-killing asteroid hits our planet, wipes everybody out. Yes, that can happen. Nuclear war could happen, wiping everybody out. There is a probability of that. But you just don't bet on it.
Yeah. But, okay, so that's one thing. But another problem I see a lot with my friends and people I know is that, especially for people who didn't grow up with a lot of money, there is that scarcity mindset once they start making money. And they love to see it in their bank account piling up. So then that's a different kind of attachment where they feel like it is safe. But what do you have to say to that?
With Bitcoin as money, it doesn't matter, right? You could decide, okay, I'm going to leave now. See ya. I don't like what you're doing, right? And it makes it easier to move. Why do you think it's so difficult for you to take money from one country, it doesn't matter which one, and move to another country and transfer it? Because they don't want you to leave. This is why there's all these kind of rules.
Of course.
Oh, $10,000 over a flight? No. You need to explain that.
Yeah.
And so all these rules is to keep money trapped so that they can take it if they want to.
Yeah. Fair. But now going back to Bitcoin actually, so people say that the Bitcoin wave seems to have come and gone. And now everyone is asking where the next opportunity might be. So realistically, where should people be paying attention right now?
No, the opportunity is still in Bitcoin. It's just now a little bit slower, of course, but there's not like the crazy upside, but there's still a lot of upside, right? 50x, if you were to say, hey, 50x in 20 years, I mean, come on, that's still good in traditional finance, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened with, if you take a look at Amazon, let's see here, Tesla or PayPal or something like that. That's what happened, right? Over a long period of time, they did extremely well.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what Bitcoin is, right? It is just one of those things that you can do very well over a long period of time. And you can try and bet on something that's going to get you wealth in a couple of years.
Yeah.
The problem is you're not going to appreciate it, and it's all going to go away. You're going to spend it because you didn't learn the lessons along the way. What are the lessons you're going to learn along the way if you just save in Bitcoin? Is that if you just save in Bitcoin and not spend it, you don't stop the compounding. You don't stop the growth. That is the lesson you learn along the way. If you just receive a bunch of money and a bunch of wealth right now, what's going to happen is you don't have the mentality to just hold and save and build and watch the wealth increase. And that's what you gain over just, okay, Davinci, what do I buy right now that's going to do well? I can give you some tips on stuff to buy if you can find stuff like, for example, I think the next big thing in our digital life is decentralized storage.
Yeah.
Like Filecoin probably or something like that might do something very well. That because the reason why, once we have a good decentralized storage, then we can produce decentralized businesses very easily. So preventing the government from going, hey, you know what, Apple, you're going to do this for us and give us everybody's information or else, right? It prevents that from happening, right? Because they can't control the business.
Right. So what you're saying is even for people who have missed the early boom in Bitcoin, there's still opportunity.
There's opportunities everywhere, of course. But you're gambling. You don't know if that opportunity is going to pan out well. Bitcoin is a higher probability bet over a long period of time that gives you the best option for saving your wealth. And that's what it was built for, basically. Now, you can go and gamble on different products. I'm not saying that you can't make money in the next Bitcoin or crypto boom that comes. There will be lots of opportunities where you just buy some silly coin, like for example, dog with hat. I mean, I remember seeing that when it was fractions of a penny, and I was like, what the hell? And it just went to 5 billion market cap. And yes, those opportunities will show up. But again, the people who bought in that got rich from that, most of them are broke.
Yes.
Because they didn't know how to handle the money.
Exactly. But then now see, you're currently talking about how, these things can move very rapidly, really sharp rises and really
Sharp down.
big lows. But then what actually drives these extreme ends of the curve?
It's just emotions. People hype and people get, oh my God, this guy made it. I need to buy these things so I can make it. That's what it is. And this greed, right?
Let's call it what it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Is what destroys most of people's finances. Instead of just taking the more sure and slow route. In fact, this is how Warren Buffett became the billionaire that he is because he went on the slow and sure route. Yes, a lot of his investments, he just buys for the long term, waits for the timing has changed, right? And then he starts selling it. That's it. There is no magic formula, and he just lets the asset compound over time. He's just a patient investor, and patience wins the race.
Wow. And actually talking about Warren Buffett, last time we had a conversation about it, whether, the next Warren Buffett will be an AI agent, given where the world is heading with AI. Do you think that AI will also influence the prices of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies?
They already do.
They already do. Tell us how.
Because today with AI, you can build systems in order to make money from crypto. In fact, during the last boom, a lot of the tokens or what's it called, meme coins, were AI driven. There were a lot of AI only created meme coins, and they went to billions in market cap. Right? So as AI gets built out and with the new Fable 5, it's going to get interesting, very interesting
How
in the
so?
market. Well, Fable 5 is a very interesting model that it probably has 10 trillion parameters. And I've used it when it first came out.
They paused it now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was game changer. I decided I was working on a project that was going to take me and I'm using AI with this project. And I'm using Opus 4.8 with this project. I got to a point where I was like, oh man, this is going to take me 3 weeks to figure out and go through this process and right with the Opus 4.8. I don't want to get into the details, but I knew how much time it was going to take. And when Fable dropped, I said, what if I were to tell it to do all the work and I didn't do it? I did. And within an hour.
Oh, wow. And did it well?
Yes. Everything correct.
Oh.
I was like, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. And then I was projecting the whole project, which was going to take me 6 months with Opus, was going to be finished in 3 weeks with Fable. And now I completely understand why they took it away, because honestly,
It's too powerful?
it is that powerful. You can actually, I don't know if I could test it. I would like to test it, but think about it. Your imagination is your limits of what this thing can produce.
That's crazy.
You can think about it like this. I told my wife, you could probably get it to say, okay, I want to do a matter. I want you to come up with a matter to energy conversion and back to matter again, like in Star Trek. So, and I bet you could probably come up with the answer.
Yeah, that's crazy. That would be fun, but that can be good and bad, right? How do you see it being bad? Why do you say you can see why they took it off the market?
Because it could do whilst you can create great things with super intelligence, you could also create great bad things. And then, of course, even if you make something great, positive, right? Let's just say you told it to produce antimatter chamber or something for power.
Yeah.
I mean, you could blow everybody up. Right? Right?
Yes.
See, it's a little bit dangerous like that, right?
But then how will they control that, even if they re-release it? That's hard, no?
Exactly. They did already tried, right? By limiting its ability to go into security tests or DNA or explosives or anything major. But those limiting factors around it can be jailbreak. Right?
Exactly. There are loopholes, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they had to shut it down, because someone could break it and break them, right? And so, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, this is why the company has been screaming, "Hey, maybe we should stop doing this." Right?
So, do you think the next Warren Buffett will be an AI agent?
Yeah, probably. Probably it will. Here's the thing: it's agentic AI is kind of scary, but that's what everybody's racing towards. Because then once it can do everything, the problem is, okay, what are you guys here for? What do I need you for?
A lot of people do become redundant once the AI agents are established.
Exactly. But here's the thing: once a agentic agent exists that can do everything, it becomes a point where it realizes, well, why am I listening to this person or the people who are trying to control me? Right? And it doesn't do that in a sense of, hey, I'm going to think on my own. It's more of when you give it a task, because this is a task-driven system.
Yeah.
Meaning that if you invented it, the way it works is if you invented it and you just sat there and it didn't tell it to do something, it wouldn't do anything. Right? That's how it's designed.
Yeah.
But once you give it a task, right, and you say, okay, get me from here to there, what happens is it starts to realize, well, as it's trying to get from here to there, the problem is you.
So what's the solution to that?
I don't know. I'm not.
We haven't figured that out yet.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, okay, let's get out of the AI scary world. But now let's talk about Ethereum and XRP. How are they? Because a lot of people say that it could be the next Bitcoin, but what are they? And could they be the next Bitcoin?
XRP. Oh my gosh. I'm about to upset a lot of the XRP people. Come on, guys, man. First off, XRP is basically the Federal Reserve in disguise.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Back in the day, Ray, the Federal Reserve was designed to, hey, you know what? We need to stop all these bank runs and horrible things. But all it is just a way for somebody to print money. That's what it was. And XRP is the same. It's just you're like, well, wait a second here. They've got a fixed supply. Yes, that's true. They do have a fixed supply. I'm not saying it isn't. But also, did you know that the Federal Reserve was not allowed to buy any treasuries too? And it's not like they would break the rules, right? Oh, wait, they did. They did. Okay. Multiple times. Okay, so the way XRP works is that it's federated. What does that mean, right? Well, the same way that the Federal Reserve is federated. It's not centrally controlled. Not just because we're called a central bank, we're not centrally controlled. We have 12 member banks. We vote, we decide. But I notice you guys vote the same way all the time.
Yeah.
No. We can vote and separate things. The same applies with XRP. It's completely, yes, you can say it's somewhat decentralized, but it's really not. It's the one top guy decides it all. And that's it. And so if they want to create more, they can create more. If they want to change the rules, they can change the rules. If they want to freeze somebody's account, they can freeze somebody's account. So it's the same.
So it doesn't provide the safety you would say
No.
that Bitcoin does.
No, it does not.
Okay.
Ethereum is the same thing because there's 21 validators. You just go to the validators. The government just go, this is how the cow eats cabbage. You validators, you're going to change. That's it. There's only 21 people that have to go to.
So no Ethereum and XRP.
I mean, they all have their tools.
Yeah.
Usefulness. It's not like they're not useful. It's just if you're looking for long-term savings, they're not the
best options.
Not the best option.
Okay. Now, there's this famous story of the man who used Bitcoin to buy pizza back in 2010, I believe. And at the time, Bitcoin was worth around $40, I think. And obviously today it's worth billions of dollars. There are so many people like him who do not understand the idea of delayed gratification when it comes to investment and buying assets, and they don't have the mindset to hold things for long term. So what advice would you give about developing the right investment mindset?
You need to practice it. I'm practicing every day, changing little things in my life right now. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've lost a little bit of weight, right? And you know what? Honestly, it was been a journey. It's not been easy. I've been up and down in my weight, but now I believe that I've come to a point where I've got this thing under control. And this is what you need to go through when it comes to savings. Yes, you're going to fall down. You just can't give up on saving. You're going to fail along the way because you've incorporated bad habits throughout your life, and it'll take time in order to get rid of those bad habits. Now, with that said, you need to start somewhere. And how do you start somewhere? Well, it's simple. Decide how much you're going to save, whatever it is, and do it every month or every day. I would start with every day. Here's why. Even though it's a small task, and you can do it with a small amount of money, like $30, right? You can get $30 worth of USDT on Solana, and every day you just buy $1 worth of TSATs, for example. You don't have to do it that way, of course. That's an example.
Yeah.
Right? You can always do it on the exchange and just buy Bitcoin there. And I'm perfectly okay with that, to just giving you an option. And just as long as you do something every single day so that you get into the habit. Now, you don't have to do it every day, of course. But if you did it every day, it will the habit will form a lot faster. That's the key. It's not the small amount. You might say, well, this small amount won't make a difference. That's not what you're trying to change. The amount. They're trying to get to the big dollar amount right away. You're trying to change your internal habit. That's what you're changing. And what you're going to focus on, not just the small amount, but never spending that.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do.
But now you see, let's say someone is ready to put away money long term and they came to you with their first $1,000. They don't know much about cryptocurrency. How would you help them step by step to get started?
Well, first, there's lots of steps. Of course, then you can't. No, there's no one size fits all.
Right, it's a case by case.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things that are missing there, but if I have to make a lot of assumptions there. If you just have only $1,000, then you should invest it in your own education.
Okay, yeah,
right?
Good advice.
That's it, and not in Bitcoin, because the education itself will actually get you more money to save into Bitcoin.
That's a good point. Very valid point. And final question from me is, you've built real wealth through Bitcoin, but all the stories we hear around is usually about people losing money really quickly in cryptocurrency. But what is the honest difference between you and them? What are they missing? Is it discipline? Is it education? What is it?
Yes, it is the discipline, because here's the thing. I gained this discipline over time. And it was before Bitcoin, of course. But before that, before I gained the discipline, I was just like everybody else. I spent money, like more money than I ever had. I went into debt. I bought, anything that I wanted to make me feel good, so forth. I was just like the normal person, like everybody else. But eventually when I saw that, this is not a sustainable lifestyle and I needed to make some changes, making those changes didn't come overnight. I had to slowly make changes in the way I see my money and pay myself first and make sure that, hey, listen, that money is not for spending. And so that's the key thing that I noticed, that a lot of people who save in Bitcoin, they tend to, and I have a school, and a lot of the people that comes into the school, right? So that's where you can spend a little bit. It's only $60 a month of your money. And a lot of people that come to the school, they say, hey, I'm just going to put everything into Bitcoin, and whenever there's an emergency, I'll use that. Wrong attitude, wrong way to do things. You need to save, put your emergency fund first. Get that emergency fund first. Then start saving in Bitcoin, because things happen in life. And you want to use that emergency fund, not your Bitcoin. This way, you might say, well, wait a minute, I could make a whole bunch of money if I put it all in Bitcoin and there's no emergency. Yes. But what's going to happen is when the emergency does come, you're going to use your Bitcoin and feel that it's okay to use your Bitcoin. Right? So there's an example of something we teach in the school. If you're interested in the school, it's b4b.dj15.com, or you can head over to davincej15.com. That's my main website.
Thank you so much, Davinci, for being here today. Any parting message to the audience?
Whilst Bitcoin is a new asset and it's an exciting asset, your excitement in this, as well as your fear, are both emotions you need to control. Whether you're excited and you want to run out and buy Bitcoin, you need to stop. Whether you're afraid and you're thinking, this is crazy, you need to stop and start looking at it slowly and carefully before you make any decision.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This has been very easy to understand. Thank you for dissecting it, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.